The story of Brazil's A-4 Skyhawk is a story of rebirth. What many countries discarded as an outdated jet, Brazil transformed into a living platform of modern aerial naval capability. The aircraft that first flew in the 1950s has found a renewed operational mission within the Brazilian Navy, not through nostalgia or inertia, but through a calculated understanding of the evolving battlefield and a national commitment to self-reliance through modernization driven by Embraer and local expertise. It represents a strategic fusion of heritage and innovation that resonates strongly with the Brazilian view of slow, steady, intelligent military advancement. The Skyhawk arrived in Brazil as an ex-Kuwaiti platform and served aboard the aircraft carrier NUIA São Paulo, where it was intended to continue classic carrier-based fighter roles. When the São Paulo was retired, critics worldwide expected the A-4 unit to disappear. Instead, Brazil reassigned it to land-based naval aviation roles, allowing these jets to act as high-speed interceptors for threats approaching Brazilian maritime zones and offshore installations. In this shift, Brazil demonstrated that military transformation does not always require disposal and replacement. Adaptation can be an equally powerful form of progress. A critical turning point was the modernization program conducted by Embraer. The inclusion of the ELM-2032 radar, state-of-the-art avionics, strengthened mission computing, and digital cockpit functionality effectively reskinned the Skyhawk's operational brain. It is now capable of tracking aerial threats such as drones and slow-moving aircraft, identifying maritime targets, and coordinating with naval command networks. Embraer's work not only revived the platform, but also reinforced the symbolic message that Brazil's aerospace industry is capable of extending the operational life cycle of legacy equipment and reducing dependence on external suppliers. Instead of importing entirely new fleets at massive costs measured in billions of Brazilian real, Brazil invested a fraction of that value into a targeted upgrade program, achieving a highly efficient cost-to-capability ratio. The global proliferation of unmanned aerial systems sparked a new military reality. Drones are now the first line of reconnaissance and strike in modern maritime conflict. Brazil's decision to train Skyhawk pilots specifically in drone interception is a visionary step. This adaptation acknowledges that modern air power is not only a contest between fast jets, but also an environment of asymmetric threats: disposable UAVs, commercial-grade quadcopters, loitering munitions, and maritime scouting drones. Rather than attempting to match nations equipped with fifth-generation fighters, Brazil focused on gaining superiority in its threat context, defending its oil platforms, sea lanes, maritime patrol zones, and economic infrastructure. In this strategic framework, the suddenly very modern Skyhawk emerges not as an antique, but as an accurate tool for the mission. A distinctive aspect of Brazilian military strategy is the integration of maritime and aviation capability inside the broader concept of Amazônia Azul, the enormous maritime EEZ that Brazil must secure. The Skyhawk, despite originally being a carrier aircraft, now functions as a fast response guardian of this maritime space. When supported by surface units like the Tamandaré-class frigates, the Skyhawk gains access to real-time targeting data, AESA-based detection networks, and sensor-to-shooter coordination. The frigate sees beyond the radar horizon. the aircraft delivers the kinetic response. Combined with future naval UAV deployment, this synergy will form a strategic triangle of capability: shipborne sensors, land-based fighters, and aerial drones operating as a single digital organism. Brazil's potential acquisition of the A-29 Super Tucano for naval operations would further reinforce this integration. While the Skyhawk is suited for fast interception and anti-air roles, the Super Tucano is ideal for maritime patrol, border surveillance, slow target hunting, and coastal strike operations. The two platforms complement each other as naturally as cavalry and infantry once did. The Skyhawk brings reach and speed. The Tucano brings persistence and economy. Both aircraft, supported by helicopters operating from frigates, would give Brazil layered aerial coverage over the Atlantic approaches. The Skyhawk revival has also influenced morale and identity within naval aviation. For pilots, maintaining a fighter role is crucial to preserving institutional knowledge and tactical expertise. Had Brazil retired the A-4 entirely, it might have faced a generational break in naval fighter training. Instead, the VF-1 squadron continues to hone air combat skills, radar tracking proficiency, interception tactics, and pilot combat culture. This continuity means that if Brazil ever transitions to a future combat aircraft, the training pipeline remains intact rather than having to be rebuilt from zero. In a broader South American context, the Skyhawk positions Brazil as the only nation in the region maintaining a functional naval strike fighter capability. Argentina lost its carrier-borne fighter wing with the retirement of the ARA 25 de Mayo and its own Skyhawks decades ago. Chile and Colombia do not operate naval fighter aircraft. South Africa, often compared to Brazil in oceanic identity, retired its fighter fleet long ago. This means that Brazil stands alone in the Southern Hemisphere with an operational fighter squadron dedicated to maritime theater roles, even if operating from land bases. This strategic distinction holds weight both militarily and psychologically. Looking ahead to 2030 and beyond, the Skyhawk's future will very likely be defined by Brazil's economic trajectory and defense industrial policy. There may come a time when Brazil develops or acquires a new generation light naval fighter or integrates navalized FX aircraft. There is also the possibility that Brazil may further modernize the A-4 with enhanced electronic warfare, integrated data links, or helmet-mounted targeting. But at present, the more significant truth is that the Skyhawk fulfills a mission profile that Brazil actually needs right now. It is fast enough, cheap enough to operate, trusted by pilots, and deeply integrated into Brazil's defense doctrine. Ultimately, the Skyhawk stands as evidence that military modernization is not merely a sprint toward new shiny technology, but a strategic layering of capability over time. Brazil chose the route of adaptation informed by intelligence, not prestige. In doing so, it kept a fighter in the air, retained its naval fighter pilot corps, strengthened its aerospace industry, and ensured security over Amazônia Azul. This pragmatic perspective, combined with a rising industrial military ecosystem, is shaping Brazil not only as a continental power, but as a maritime aero actor with one of the most interesting and innovative defense evolutions of the Southern Hemisphere.